started. Again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Fox. I'm a meteorologist here at the National Weather Service in Spokane. And it looks like we have some weather to talk about, which isn't unusual considering what's been going on lately. So let's take a look at the outline for the week ahead. Starting tonight, we do still have some snow showers out there on radar, especially over northeast Washington and North Idaho. We don't expect that to be a big deal, however, and those showers are going to decrease, it looks like, through the remainder of the evening and into early tomorrow morning. For late Tuesday or late tomorrow through early Wednesday, there will be a weak warm front or weak front that's going to deliver some light snow to a small portion of the inland northwest. We're mainly thinking extreme southern Washington and the southern third of the Idaho Panhandle. However, as we move beyond that and we get into the Wednesday into early Friday period, you may have heard us talking about this at some point, but we expect yet another major winter storm to be heading our way. Once again, this one promises some appreciable snow amounts as well as some just pretty good QPF or rainfall amounts as well. And we'll get into details about where we expect the heaviest to fall and how much snow we're expecting and that sort of thing. But if we move on beyond that into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, finally it looks like we're going to see some quiet weather, and perhaps that'll even continue into early next week. So by no means is winter done yet, but days are getting longer and our temperatures are rising slowly but surely. So let's just do a little recap about what happened over the past 3 days, and to say we had a pretty big event would be an understatement. What I have here is a map of the 3-day snowfall totals across most of the inland northwest. So we saw two real areas of heavy precipitation. One was in the lee of the Cascades, which isn't terribly unusual for those areas. So the Wenatchee area had 14 inches of snow, Plain had 17 inches of snow. But where my focus is really drawn is here over Pend Oreille, Stevens, Ferry counties, as well as Boundary, Bonner County, and Shoshone County. We saw quite a few totals ranging anywhere from 17 even up to 30 inches. Here was 32 inches at Pritchard, Idaho. So that was a pretty good snow event, to say the least. And what it's done is it's really added to our amount of weight that's in the snow of the water. We call that a snow water equivalent. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because we have gotten some questions about snow loading on roofs. And you know, that means, do we have so much snow on the roofs now that it's going to cause problems with potential for building collapse? It's hard to say, but we did get some snow water equivalent totals ranging anywhere from 5 to 7 inches of snow or water in the snow, especially over northeast Washington and North Idaho. So it looks like, unfortunately, we're going to be adding to those totals. We're going to add more weight to the snowpack as we get into the middle of the week with that next system. So we'll show you how much we're going to add, and we'll look into that when we get closer to that slide. So anyways, it was a pretty good event over the last 3 days. So moving forward, this is what we have in effect right now. Really quiet compared to what the weather has been. We still have winter storm warnings continuing for the North Idaho and Central Idaho Panhandle. That's going to continue through this evening, but for the most part the heaviest snow has fallen, and most of the snow that we expect for the next into the evening will mainly fall over the mountains, and most of the valleys will be kind of a hit or miss thing. We're not expecting very heavy totals, so we're just going to continue those winter weather warnings through the evening. Elsewhere, not much else going on across the inland northwest. In the Washington Cascades, Pendleton still has a highlight out for some heavy snow at Snoqualmie Pass, and here on the west side of the state they also have some winter weather highlights as well for snow. But for us, things have quieted down compared to what they were over the weekend anyways. So let's look ahead. This is for the next weather system, which is expected to move into the far southern parts of eastern Washington and the southern Idaho Panhandle by the time we get into Tuesday and early Wednesday. The area where we would expect to see the most precipitation is across, again, southeast Washington into the Camas Prairie and perhaps southern parts of Shoshone County, as well as Latah and Benewah counties, also the LC Valley. A lot of this is going to fall as snow, so we're expecting anywhere perhaps from 1 to 3 inches of snow. Heaviest amounts would probably be on the Camas Prairie. Not too sure how much they're going to get in Lewiston, maybe 1 to 2 inches, which is, still pretty good for this time of year. Temperatures should be warming there quite a bit till you don't get snow every day down in the Lewiston area. But again, this looks like a pretty good chance of some widespread light snows across the southeast portion of our forecast area. All right, so then as we get into the Wednesday into Thursday night time period, our old friend the atmospheric river here is going to return, and what that's going to do is it's going to pump all sorts of moisture off the Pacific Ocean. Hawaii is right around here, and it's going to tap into some moisture that's going to be near Hawaii, and it's going to move it into the inland northwest. So it looks like that's going to start to bring some precipitation into the Cascades as early as Wednesday morning, and then it's going to gradually spill northeastward into North Idaho by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening. Initially, all the precipitation is going to start out as snow. However, we are going to see a change over some time as that warmer air associated with this atmospheric river begins to move in as well. So right now, this is our best guess as far as how much snow we're forecasting across the area. So the locations which stand the best chance of seeing appreciable snows are most likely going to be in the Cascades, because that's where we expect the cold air over the area to scrub out the last. So much of the precipitation which falls in the lee of the Cascades is going to be snow. So we're expecting amounts anywhere from a foot of snow into a foot and a half of snow from Plain to Winthrop. Even in the Wenatchee area and the Waterville Plateau, we're expecting anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow. As you get farther off to the north and to the east, that's where we expect the warm air to move in the quickest, and that'll transition the snow to more of a rain or perhaps even some freezing rain as we go on from Wednesday night into Thursday. So right now, we expect our best chances of freezing rain to occur over southern portions and western portions of the Columbia Basin, the Waterville Plateau, and the Wenatchee area. Unlike the event which we saw, I think it was a couple weeks or a few weeks ago, where we saw primarily freezing rain and then that led to a lot of travel problems, this is an event where we're looking for snow first, followed by freezing rain, so that tends to mitigate the travel problems associated with just pure freezing rain on the roads, because you get that base of snow on the roads and then you follow it up with a little bit of freezing rain. So more than anything, it kind of puts a crust on the snow. So the main travel problems I would expect at this point for the call it Wednesday night into Thursday period would have to do with the snow and not so much the freezing rain. So that's our main freezing rain threat area, would be across this region. All locations could see a brief period of freezing rain as we transition from that rain to, transition from the snow to the rain. Brief freezing rain is possible, but again, this is our main risk area. Where we saw the most amount of snow here over northeast Washington and the North Idaho Panhandle, we're still expecting anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of snow across Sandpoint, Bonners Ferry, Colville, Chewelah, and Republic. And that looks like a pretty good bet that we're going to add a bit of snow to what you guys already saw up there. Now that's our most likely storm scenario. But depending on how quickly the warm air moves in, it's going to make for a kind of complicated forecast, because we don't know exactly when the snow is going to change over to rain. So if the warm air arrives quick, we're expecting as little as this amount of snow, so anywhere from 0 to a trace in Coeur d'Alene and Ritzville and Moses Lake, to anywhere to 3 to 6 inches of snow across the Waterville Plateau, Wenatchee, these far northern valleys. So that's the least amount of snow that we're expecting. However, we could also see this much snow if the cold air is slower to arrive than we forecast. So if that were to happen, we're expecting to issue widespread winter storm warnings once again across especially the northern third of Washington and the northern half of the Idaho Panhandle. And we'd also probably see winter weather advisories for snow across the Columbia Basin into the Spokane area, Coeur d'Alene area, and maybe even the northern Palouse if this were to happen. Now this is our least likely scenario, but there's a potential that this amount of snow could fall. So I just want to say, given the uncertainty with this weather forecast, we are going to be issuing some more slides by the middle of the week as this thing gets a little more clear in the crystal weather ball. Right now it's not terribly clear, but that's what we're expecting anyway. So expect an update to be issued on Wednesday. Now, if we don't worry about how much snow is going to fall and we just look at the liquid that's expected to fall, whether it be rain or snow, we do have a pretty good confidence that we're going to see anywhere from 3/4 of an inch of precipitation across the eastern third of Washington to even 1.5 inches over the North Idaho Panhandle. That's also true for locations in the lee of the Cascades. So given that fact that we have all that snow water equivalent on the ground, you know, with the heavy snow and the ice and whatnot that's on people's roofs and on buildings across North Idaho and northeast Washington, you can expect to add at least this much water into the snowpack. So that will further exacerbate whatever sort of weighting is occurring on the buildings across areas right now. We don't expect to see a whole lot of snow melt between now and then, so things are going to get worse before they get better as far as the amount of water that's in the snow. All right, so not to be the bearer of all bad news, by the time we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we do see a big ridge of high pressure building over the top of us. What that'll do is it'll dry the weather considerably. Whether or not that results in warm temperatures, that's hard to say. At this point, we expect temperatures to be perhaps near normal, but anytime we get a big ridge of high pressure this time of year without a whole lot of wind preceding it, we're certainly prone to see widespread fog and low clouds by the time we get into the weekend, and what that'll do is it'll keep temperatures down cooler than we would expect otherwise. So here briefly is the 7-day outlook, and this is for Spokane and Wenatchee. So for the next couple days, we're expecting temperatures to dip into the 30s, lower 30s to even mid-20s or so, which is quite a bit below normal for this time of year. Wenatchee's high should be around 40. Spokane, we should be in the upper 30s. So for the whole week, we're expecting temperatures to remain below normal. And if you look at these green bars down here, this shows when we expect to see the best chance of precipitation as far as rain or snow for the Wenatchee and Spokane area. If we look to North Idaho for Sandpoint and Lewiston, more of the same. It's just a little bit warmer in Lewiston than anywhere else, so they get to enjoy temperatures in the 40s, unlike the rest of the inland Northwest, which will see high temperatures generally in the 30s. All right, moving beyond that. Finally, here's something that I have not seen in a while. The 8 to 14-day outlook is actually calling for above normal temperatures, or at least we're weighting the chances toward above normal temperatures, and that's for the middle of February through the 3rd week of February. But with that, we're not going to dry things out. It looks like our wetter than normal pattern will return sometime by, perhaps the middle of next week or maybe the end of next week. So, in summary, we're expecting to see the snow showers taper off tonight. Then we're going to see a return of some light snow for southeast Washington and the southern Idaho Panhandle Tuesday and Tuesday night. The major impacts we expect to see are going to be on Wednesday and Thursday as that atmospheric river begins its return. We'll see snow transitioning to snow and rain, and that's just going to add more water to the snowpack in the area. Then finally, by the end of the week and into the weekend, we're expecting the quieter weather to develop. So, if you care, please continue to stay informed via these web pages and the links. And again, you can call us anytime you'd like or email us, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have. So at this point, I will open it up for questions if there are any.
Hey, this is Bob from Mary's Races.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
This morning I got your email with the SWE request, and I went through those couple of those slides, and I don't have a